The internet just lost its absolute mind over Jenny Han and The Summer I Turned Pretty on Prime Video. And I'm talking about a level of toxicity that would make reality TV producers nervous. We're dealing with death threats sent to cast members, harassment campaigns targeting the show's creator on her actual birthday, and Amazon Prime Video having to issue public warnings telling grown adults to stop bullying actors over fictional teenage relationships. Jenny Han, the mastermind behind this Prime Video hit, starring Lola Tung as Bally, found herself under attack after episode 9 dropped, with fans accusing her of ruining the show and Amazon having to step in with warnings about death threats targeting the cast. If you think you've seen toxic fandoms before, trust me, you haven't seen anything like what's happening with The Summer I Turned Pretty right now. But before we dive into this absolute disaster, smash that subscribe button because apparently we live in a world where documenting fandom meltdowns has become a full-time job, and somebody's got to keep track of which fandoms are currently having their sanity questioned by major streaming platforms.
Let me paint you the picture of what started this whole dumpster fire. Season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty had been building up to the moment everyone was waiting for. At the end of episode 8, Bally finally called off her wedding to Jeremiah, and Team Conrad fans were practically throwing parties in their living rooms. The stage was perfectly set for the Conrad and Bally reunion that fans had been craving for 3 entire seasons on Prime Video. But then, episode 9 dropped, and instead of getting the romantic reunion everyone expected, viewers got something completely different. The entire hour followed Bally wandering around Paris by herself, dealing with lost luggage, meeting random people, and basically having what the writers clearly intended to be a journey of self-discovery. Meanwhile, back home, Conrad was getting emotionally destroyed by his family and friends, and Jeremiah was laying in bed looking miserable.
The fan reaction was immediate and brutal. Within hours of the episode going live on Amazon Prime, Jenny Han's Instagram turned into a war zone. People weren't just disappointed, they were genuinely angry that they had wasted an hour of their lives watching what they considered filler content. Comments started flooding in with gems like, "Jenny, this episode could have been an email," and "You can literally take Ep9 out the whole season, it wouldn't matter." But here's what made the whole situation even more ridiculous. These fans seemed to completely miss the point of why this episode existed. If you've read Jenny Han's books, you know that after Bally calls off the wedding, the story basically jumps straight to the ending. We're talking about maybe 10 pages total covering what happens between that moment and Bally ending up with Conrad. Jenny Han had to expand that tiny section into 3 full episodes of television, and she couldn't just have Bally immediately run back to Conrad after calling off a wedding without looking completely unhinged. The Paris episode was necessary character development, showing Bally learning to be independent and process her major life decisions before jumping into another serious relationship. But fans didn't want character development, they wanted instant gratification. They wanted Bally and Conrad making out on the beach within 5 minutes of the wedding being called off. Consequences be damned. Now, here's where this story gets really messed up, and I mean genuinely disturbing. It was literally Jenny Han's birthday that week. While this woman was trying to celebrate another year of life, her comment sections were being flooded with people telling her that her creative choices were garbage and that she should be ashamed of herself for wasting their time. Imagine opening Instagram on your birthday, expecting happy birthday messages from friends and fans, and instead getting hundreds of people telling you that your life's work sucks. The level of cruelty was honestly shocking. People were writing things like, "Worst birthday present ever was this episode," and "Hope your birthday is better than episode 9. Some fans did try to defend her with messages like, "It's literally Jenny Han's birthday, and you guys are making fun of the show that she created." But they were completely drowned out by the hate mob.
If you're still watching and haven't hit that button yet, do it now. Apparently, we're living in an era where grown adults are terrorizing authors over teenage love triangles. And someone needs to document this madness for future therapists who will be treating these people
What makes this whole controversy even more frustrating is that these fans clearly don't understand how television adaptation actually works. Jenny Han wasn't just randomly deciding to waste everyone's time with a Paris episode. She was dealing with the very real challenge of turning a book series into a coherent television narrative that makes sense for the medium. In the books, after Belly calls off the wedding, readers get a few paragraphs and some letters, and then, boom, she's with Conrad. That works perfectly fine in a novel where you can skip time and fill in blanks with your imagination. But television doesn't work that way. You can't just have a character make a major life decision like calling off a wedding and then immediately jump into another serious relationship without showing the psychological process behind it.
The Paris episode served multiple important functions that fans completely ignored because they were too focused on not getting their Conrad content. First, it showed Belly learning to exist independently, which is crucial character growth for someone who's been defined by her relationships with two brothers. Second, it demonstrated her processing the weight of her decision and what it means for her future. Third, it created the necessary breathing room between major plot developments that makes the eventual resolution feel earned rather than rushed. But modern audiences, especially those trained on TikTok-length attention spans, apparently can't handle an hour of character development without immediate romantic payoff. They want every episode to be major plot developments and dramatic reveals, not understanding that shows need quieter moments to feel authentic and emotionally resonant.
The criticism also reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of what adaptation requires. Jenny Han couldn't just film the books page by page. She had to expand, develop, and sometimes completely reimagine scenes to work for television. The fact that she managed to stay largely faithful to the source material while making smart adaptations for the medium is actually pretty impressive. But instead of appreciating that achievement, fans were nitpicking every creative choice that didn't match their exact expectations. The situation got even messier when you factor in all the behind-the-scenes drama that's been brewing throughout Season 3. There have been persistent rumors circulating that the cast doesn't actually get along in real life, particularly between Lola Tung and Gavin Castellino. Some fans have started speculating about political tensions between cast members, with claims that different actors' political views have created awkwardness during press tours and filming. Now, whether or not these rumors have any basis in reality is honestly impossible to know, but they've definitely added fuel to the fire. Fans who already dislike Jeremiah's character have started projecting that onto Gavin Castellino personally, using the alleged cast tension as proof that even the actors know the show is going in the wrong direction. It's honestly wild how people will use any excuse to justify their hatred of fictional characters and real people. The whole situation has gotten so toxic that cast members have started being more careful about what they say in interviews, knowing that fans will dissect every word for clues and potential ammunition for their shipping wars. Christopher Briney and Gavin Castellino have started giving more diplomatic answers about the show's direction, probably because they've seen how quickly fans turn on anyone who doesn't validate their preferred romantic outcomes. What's particularly frustrating is watching fans completely miss the point of the story they claim to love. The Summer I Turned Pretty isn't just about which brother Belly ends up with. It's about growing up, making difficult choices, and learning who you are independent of romantic relationships. But the shipping wars have become so intense that fans are treating fictional relationship outcomes like life-or-death situations, completely losing perspective on what the story is actually trying to say. Part of the problem is that adult fans have completely taken over what was originally intended as young adult content. Many of the people having emotional breakdowns over Belly's love life are grown adults with mortgages and children, arguing about teenage fictional relationships with the same passion they'd bring to actual political issues. There's a huge nostalgia factor driving the intensity since these books came out when many current adults were in high school. But that doesn't excuse the level of harassment being directed at real people. After days of relentless attacks and harassment, Jenny Han finally decided to remind everyone exactly who they were messing with, and her response was absolutely perfect. She basically told fans that being passionate about a show doesn't excuse promoting hate and violence, and that criticism should never cross the line into harassment and bullying. She also shared some behind-the-scenes content showing the incredible amount of work that goes into each episode, subtly reminding people that real humans with feelings create this content. Her message was professional but firm, essentially telling fans that their behavior was unacceptable while maintaining her dignity as a creator. The response was so well crafted that it reminded everyone they were arguing with a professional writer who literally created these characters and knows them better than anyone else in the world. It was like watching someone bring a machine gun to a water balloon fight, completely one-sided and slightly embarrassing for the other party.
Amazon Prime Video also had to step in with official statements telling fans to keep conversations respectful and warning against bullying cast members, with their community guidelines having a zero-tolerance policy for hate speech, bullying, targeting the cast or crew, or harassment. When a major streaming platform has to issue public service announcements about not harassing the people who make your entertainment, you know things have gone way too far. It's like having to put up signs reminding people not to throw food at the zoo animals. Embarrassing for everyone involved. This wasn't even the first time Amazon had to warn Summer I Turned Pretty fans against harassing the cast, as they had released an initial statement before the third season even premiered. The fact that they had to issue multiple warnings throughout the season shows just how toxic this particular fandom had become.
The whole situation really highlights the bigger problem with modern fandom culture and social media giving audiences unprecedented access to creators. Fans have started feeling entitled to creators' personal lives and creative processes, interpreting accessibility as permission to make demands and hurl insults when their expectations aren't met. The line between legitimate criticism and outright harassment has been completely obliterated. What's happening with The Summer I Turned Pretty is unfortunately part of a much larger trend in how we consume entertainment in 2025. Shows aren't allowed to have quiet character moments or explore themes that don't directly service fan expectations. Everything has to be instant gratification and obvious romantic payoffs, or it's considered a waste of time.
The shipping wars between Team Conrad and Team Jeremiah have become so toxic that people are actively hoping for certain actors to fail just because they don't like their characters. Fans are writing detailed analyses of why Jeremiah is problematic while completely ignoring that Conrad has his own serious issues. It's like they've forgotten that complex characters with flaws make for better storytelling than perfect cardboard cutouts who never make mistakes or face real consequences. Some fans have become so invested in their preferred romantic outcome that they're threatening to have complete emotional breakdowns if Belly doesn't end up with their chosen brother. The idea that adults are having genuine mental health crises over fictional teenagers' love lives is honestly concerning and says something pretty depressing about where we are as a society. The pressure on Jenny Han to stick to the book's ending while simultaneously expanding and improving it has created an impossible standard that no creator could realistically meet. Fans want the exact book ending, but also want it to be longer, more developed, and somehow different enough to surprise them. They want their cake and to eat it too, then get angry when the universe doesn't bend to their contradictory demands. There's also this weird subset of fans who are terrified that Belly will choose herself instead of either brother, which has created its own conspiracy theories and panic. People are analyzing every interview and social media post for clues about the ending, turning into amateur detectives trying to predict fictional outcomes. The amount of mental energy being devoted to this is honestly impressive in its complete inappropriateness.
What's particularly frustrating is watching fans completely miss the point of character growth and development. Belly spending time alone in Paris isn't filler content designed to waste their time. It's showing a teenage girl learning to exist independently before making major life decisions about her romantic future. But fans are so obsessed with immediate romantic outcomes that they can't appreciate character development that doesn't directly lead to kissing scenes and relationship drama. Before we wrap up this deep dive into fandom insanity, make sure you're subscribed because the final episodes are about to drop and this drama is definitely going to explode again when people either love or hate the ending. I'll be here to break down whatever chaos ensues, hopefully without anyone sending death threats this time, but let's be honest, that's probably wishful thinking.
The most tragic part of this entire situation is that it's probably going to taint Jenny Han's experience of completing her adaptation. This should be a triumphant moment for her, seeing characters she created years ago finally get their complete story told on screen through Prime Video with an amazing cast, including Lola Tung, Christopher Briney, and Gavin Castellano. Instead, she's dealing with harassment and having to defend creative choices that are actually pretty reasonable when you think about them logically. Looking ahead, the final episodes are going to determine whether this controversy gets worse or if fans finally get the ending they want and calm down. Based on the books, we know Belly ends up with Conrad, but the journey to that ending is what's been causing all the drama. If the final episodes don't perfectly match fan expectations, Jenny Han is probably going to face even more harassment, which is absolutely unacceptable.
The whole situation also raises serious questions about whether creators should engage with fans on social media at all. Jenny Han's direct interaction with her audience has been mostly positive over the years, but this controversy shows how quickly that relationship can turn toxic. Future creators might decide that the risks of fan engagement outweigh the benefits, which would be sad for everyone involved, but completely understandable given what's happening here. What's particularly infuriating is that the fans causing this drama probably genuinely love the show and characters, but they've completely lost perspective on how to express that love appropriately. Criticism is fine, even harsh criticism, but personal attacks and harassment cross way over the line into unacceptable behavior that helps no one and hurts everyone involved.
The Summer I Turned Pretty controversy might become a cautionary tale about fandom toxicity and the dangers of giving audiences too much access to creators through social media platforms. It's showing us what happens when passion becomes obsession and when fictional relationships become more important to people than treating real humans with basic respect and decency. As we wait for the final episodes to drop on Amazon Prime, the only thing we can be sure of is that no matter how this ends, some group of fans is going to be absolutely furious about it. Jenny Han has done her best to bring beloved characters to life while expanding their story in meaningful ways. But apparently, that's not enough for people who want television to be a personalized wish fulfillment service, rather than an artistic medium with its own creative integrity.
The most we can hope for is that the final episodes are good enough to remind people why they fell in love with these characters in the first place. And maybe, just maybe, fans will remember that there are real people behind the entertainment they consume. People who deserve basic human decency even when their creative choices don't match your personal preferences. But given how this controversy has played out so far, I'm not holding my breath for that level of maturity and perspective from this particular corner of the internet. Whatever happens next, Jenny Han deserves better than what she's been getting, and hopefully this whole mess serves as a wake-up call about how we treat creators in the age of social media. Because if we keep this up, we're going to drive away all the talented people who make the content we claim to love, and we'll be left with nothing but safe, boring entertainment designed by committee to offend absolutely no one. And honestly, that world sounds way more depressing than having to wait an extra episode to see your favorite fictional couple get together.